What's going on, guys? It's Byron at ETA Wheels, and today we're going to show you this little beautiful thing here. Now this is a billet support bearing made by TIC. So I want you guys to check this out. See how nicely machined it is. There was a little bit of grease and crap on it that I cleaned off already before this video. It's really nice, no sharp edges, and hopefully you guys can see these little grooves in here. These little grooves are cool. Rather than just machine a solid cylinder, these little grooves allow it so that when you get grease and dirt and crap built up around here where it goes, it can still function and do its thing. So there's not a whole lot of videos on how to do this swap. It seems to be pretty straightforward. But I'm going to go ahead and do one anyway. So first off, I've said this for years and I'm going to say it again. It doesn't matter if you get a centric or if you get a FTE or if you buy a Sachs slave. They're literally all the fucking same. They are all the same. Don't believe me? Look, see, we got a serial number. We got a FTE stamp right there. Looks like it was made in 2015, so it's fairly recent. There's a little sticker right here. It says assembled in Mexico. Doesn't matter. I've owned the car now for 4 years, and I've done 4 slave cylinders. I've done an LS7. They're all the same. They're all the same, guys. It doesn't matter. Just find the one that fits your budget, that's the best bang for the buck, and go with that one. In my case, when I order from Rock Auto, it's whatever happens to be in stock. Now this happens to be a centric, not that it matters. And for you guys curious, this is a V1 slave. This is not an LS7 slave. So when you do the -4AN conversion, you pop this out, you put your bleeder line in, and then you just take this nut out and you put the male end in and you connect the other end of your hose here. So it's really straightforward. Anyway, on with the show. So this is just a regular screwdriver. I put some tape on the end of it so I don't score anything. You got to be really, really careful with this particular part. What you're going to do, this is what holds everything on here. So you're just going to kind of compress it. You're going to compress it down. Just very gently try to pop it off, and there it is. Did not take a lot of force. Now very carefully slide everything apart, and this is a factory plastic piece of shit. This is why I have to replace my fucking slaves at least once a year, motherfucker. And that is what this is replacing. As you can see, matches up very, very well. It's the same thing but made out of aluminum. So when the bearing's melted to this is what happens every year. This little groove right here wears itself out. This little bearing falls the fuck off. So let's go ahead and unlock the mystery of a GM slave cylinder. You don't want to knock the boot off. The only other video of this that I've seen, the guy took this part off. I don't know why you would. You just watch me take it apart. You don't have to. As you can see, there's barely any grease on this thing. So what we're going to do, we're going to put a little bit of grease around here, and we're going to put a light coat of grease in here. Then we're going to reassemble it. Take all the magic out of this. So you guys sitting at home might be looking at this going, it looks hard. It's not. This part goes on the bottom. That part goes on the top. This is multi-purpose lithium-based high-quality grease for automotive applications. It is nothing fancy. It's what it looks like in Arabic, in case you guys are curious. I'm in Abu Dhabi, so it is what it is. I'll take a little bit of grease, and there is what appears to be some white lithium grease in the bottom there. This is actually what moves up and down, if I remember correctly. Anyway, not like it really fucking matters. I'm just gonna put a little bit. See, just a little bit. Actually, you know what? Hang on. I'm gonna clean this off and wipe it with some alcohol, and then I'll be right back. And we're back. All right, guys, so now I've got this all wiped down. In my humble opinion, there's not really enough grease in here. So for you guys that are getting new slave cylinders, I would recommend that you do this anyway. Just pop this little sucker out and get you some fresh grease in there, because you're gonna want some lubrication in there. Now, if you see, I just got a little bit. It does not take a lot of grease. Just takes a little bit, and you want to get it as even as possible. So the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to put it around the top here. And basically what you want, from my understanding, is just enough grease so that you can see a fingerprint. So if you notice, I'm putting it up here. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a very light coat of grease on the inside of this. Just a little bit more here. Nothing particularly fancy. There we go. So you're just going to spread it around. You're going to want to make sure that it goes into those machined grooves. I'm flying without a safety net here. I don't have my preview on my screen working, unfortunately. So I'm just going to have to do the best I can. Put a little bit around there as well. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. So hopefully you guys can see that. All right, so now this is how it gets installed. And in case you're wondering, here's the old one, here's the new one. And you can see pretty much exact match. And we're just gonna work this around. The reason you don't want a whole hell of a lot of grease in here, for those of you who've gotten this far in doing your own maintenance and stuff, the GM clutches, they're dusty as hell. Actually, all clutches are, not just GM clutches, but they're dusty. Very, 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 very dusty. So if you have a lot of grease, it's going to pick up the dust and it's not going to move. This is really smooth, by the way. That's really cool. Really, really, really well done. Those same grooves that I was showing you there are kind of sort of accomplished here in the plastic on this side, just so you can kind of see. So this is actually a better design, in my opinion. And hopefully this will take the heat and I'll stop melting this part, thus necessitating me replacing a new fucking slave cylinder every fucking summer in Abu Dhabi. Then again, it might not. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to put a little bit more around here. You notice I'm just kind of keeping it nice and even, and I'm not really using a whole lot. Barely using any at all, honestly. You just, when you get done with it, you just want enough to basically see your fingerprint. That's it. That's all she wrote. I'm just going to move it around, make sure that it's nice and even, slides smooth. And we are there, guys. Bob's your uncle. That's it. Nice, smooth. You like that, don't you? Yeah, you're dirty. Dirty, dirty. All right, so that's it. That's all she wrote. Take Mr. Handy Dandy paper towel. Wipe a little bit of that out. Show you guys how much of this I'm leaving in here, which is barely any. I'm assuming that you probably don't want any grease there. Now, on these, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to grease these or not, so I'm just, again, going to use a super, super light coat around the teeth here. I don't know if I need to or not, but I'm doing it anyway. So there's that. Obviously we don't want this part to move. I'm actually thinking maybe just a tiny, well, yeah, fuck it. It'll be fine. So now we're just gonna pop that back in place. We're gonna line this up with the teeth here. See that? Nice and smooth. That's what you want. All right? I mean, you can see it just pops in and out. If you guys don't want to take this boot off, don't take the boot off. This is the only part you really got to futz with. But again, after looking at the amount of lubrication that was in here, I would personally. There we go. So now, I've got a little bit on the inside of this. Just going to clean that out. And you get a nice contact with that. And that's it, guys. That's all it really is. So for you guys that are the other reason I wanted to make this video so you guys can see this, when you're taking your measurements for the compressed slave, it's a hell of a lot easier to do it when you ain't got to fight this. So when you're doing your LS7 clutch, or any clutch for that matter, any clutch, you can do this, put your bearing on. These are just rubber, guys. So you can put your bearing on, take your compressed measurement, and you'll get it a hell of a lot more accurate than trying to fight it. The other suggestion I have for you guys is take the bleeder out when you take your measurement. That way you don't have to fight the hydraulic force. Make sure that this little guy all the way down in there is fully compressed. Obviously you can see mine is. But yeah, there you go. So now, let's put it all back together. And you're just going to take the same ring, and you're just going to kind of pop it back into place. Make sure that it's fully seated and that you do not damage it. If you damage it, this piece is ruined. So lightly tap it in the center. Just make sure that it's fully seated all the way around. You do not want this thing coming out where you're going on the road or anything else. I got a little bit here. That's it. Take our hand off, stand clear. That's it. We're done. So you guys are now a little bit smarter. This is Byron at DTA Wheels. Look at that. I mean, seriously, just look at that. You can see that ring is not going to come out of there. We're done. That's it. Double tap it one more time. Just make sure that it's fully even. And there you go. Bob's your fucking uncle.